Well, everyone, Tony Costa here from Trial Apologetics. I'm glad that you could join us. We are continuing our series on refuting Sheikh Uthman, and we want to remind you, as always, to subscribe to Trial Apologetics if you haven't done so already. Like the video and share the video with others. And so we are going to be looking at a TikTok video that Sheikh Uthman has put on, and we're going to be answering some of his allegations that he makes in this TikTok video. Of course, he usually preys on unsuspecting Christians that are not too deep into their faith. And then he posts these videos online, even having some of them recite Shahada, say Shahada, and become Muslims. And of course, those who make this Shahada, the question is, what happens to them? Do they actually join a local mosque and move on, or is it just done for optics for the internet audience? So let's take a look and take a listen, and we will stop the video when necessary.
But the Bible today, does it have errors or no? No errors today.
So he's asking the question, does the Bible have any errors today? And of course, what do you mean by errors? Are you talking about textual variants, scribal errors in the manuscripts? Yes, there are. Just like there are scribal errors and textual variants in the Quran. But of course, Sheikh Uthman wants to act and present the case that the Quran has no textual variants in it or any mistakes, which again is absolutely absurd. Because there are many textual variants in the manuscripts of the Quran. I've shown this in my videos. If you look at my videos on the reliability of the surahs and so forth, I address some of that. And also, if you look at my video with Dr. Bernie Powers from the Melbourne School of Theology, he's an expert in Islamics, and we talk about the different versions of the Quran and the different readings. But anyway, he's challenging the idea here. He's basically affirming that the Bible has errors in it.
What's your name? Matthew. So this is in John. Now it was a preparation day for the Passover, and about the 6th hour. So this is the preparation day, right? And then he said to the Jews, "Behold your king." So what day was it that they grabbed him? Preparation day, right?
And what is the preparation day? So Sheikh Uthman puts it out there that this was the day of preparation. Preparation for what? What does that mean, the preparation day? Well, we know what the preparation day is. The preparation day, the word preparation is a word in Greek that refers to Friday, the day before the Sabbath. And it's the preparation day for the Sabbath. And remember, the Passover, by the time of the first century, the Passover included not just the Passover feast, but the following 7 days of unleavened bread. So in the time of Jesus, in the first century, the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread merged into one feast that they called the Passover. So the Passover referred to an 8-day celebration, the day of Passover and the 7 days of unleavened bread, which I'm sure Sheikh Uthman has not even noted here in his discussion. And so the day of preparation here is referring to Friday, which was the day in which Jesus was crucified, on the Friday of Passover. He's the Passover lamb, John 1, verse 29.
But they cried out, away with him, crucify him. Right? Pilate said to them, shall I crucify your king? The chief priest answered, we have no king but Caesar. So this tells you that he died before Passover on the preparation day, right?
That's not what it says. Where does it say he died before Passover? Because it was the preparation day. The preparation day is a reference to Friday. It's talking about Friday, where you prepare for the Sabbath, which begins at sundown on Friday. Friday evening is the beginning of the Sabbath. So Jews counted their days from evening to morning, evening to morning. And so he's Sheikh Uthman has taken the word preparation day to refer to the preparation for the Passover. No, Sheikh Uthman. Preparation day is the technical term for Friday. You can ask anyone who is Greek speaking, Greek Orthodox, you can ask them, what is the day for Friday, and ask them to define it in Greek, and they'll tell you it's the word that means preparation, and that they got, of course, from the Hebrew calendar. So the preparation day is not the preparation for the Sabbath, it's the preparation for, it's not the preparation for the Passover, it's preparation for the Sabbath of Passover week.
Are we in agreement?
No, we're not. We're not in agreement. Because you don't even know what the technical phrase preparation day refers to. You think it's referring to the Passover, but it's actually referring to the day of the crucifixion, which is the 6th day of the week, which is Friday.
You read it or what? Yeah, the preparation day. Okay, yeah, okay, cool.
Preparation day, Friday.
Now, when we go to Mark, it says, so his disciples went out and came into the city and found it just as they had said, as he had said them, and they prepared the Passover. In the evening, he came with the 12, and now as they sat and ate the meal, this is the Passover, right?
Yes, it's the Passover, and the Passover is celebrated in the evening. And so the Passover, or the Last Supper as it's known to Christians, because Jesus instituted what we call the Lord's Supper, the Lord's table, the Eucharist, the communion table, Holy Communion, and so forth, or the breaking of bread as it's known in some churches. Jesus instituted that on the Thursday night. Now remember, Friday begins on Thursday night. Remember, I said the Hebrew calendar is evening, morning. You see that in Genesis 1. That's the pattern. Genesis 1:5, evening and morning, first day or day one. And so Thursday night would have been the beginning of the Passover, because Thursday night was the eve of the 6th day, which is Friday, which is the day that Jesus was crucified on, which would be the day of Passover. So Passover begins in the evening, but remember, it continues throughout the next day. And then, of course, you've got the 7 other days, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, which is 7 days. But remember, as I said already, by the 1st century, that feast was known as the Passover. So it covered both Passover and unleavened bread.
He told them, assuredly, I say to you, one of you who eats with me will betray me. And they began to be sorrowful, say to him, by one, is it I? Another said, is it I? So here, he was crucified after the Passover.
Passover begins in the evening, Sheikh Uthman, and it also continues to the next day. And so if Passover was to begin on Thursday night, it goes until Friday night. And remember, in the Gospels, the reason why they had to take Jesus down from the cross and break the thieves' legs was to take the bodies down before the beginning of the Sabbath, the 7th day. And so that Friday was Passover, the day of Passover. The evening before Thursday night would be the evening of Passover. And so the Friday then is counted from Thursday night to Friday night, and Friday night is the eve of the Sabbath. And so the chronology is accurate. The timing is accurate. The only problem is Sheikh Uthman has confused preparation day as the preparation for the Sabbath, when in fact it's the preparation, he's confused the preparation day as preparation for the Passover, when in fact it is actually the preparation for the Sabbath. It's the 6th day. That's the technical term for Friday, the 6th day. So there's no contradiction. We can push this further and say, well, there is no contradiction here. But Sheikh Uthman, do you believe Jesus actually had that meal with his disciples? Do you believe he took bread and said, this is my body, which is for you? Do you believe he took the cup and said, this cup is the new covenant in my blood, which is to be shed for the remission of the sins of many? Well, if you believe that, then you should leave Islam and become a Christian, because Jesus is not only preparing to die, but he's taken the bread and the cup from the Passover table, and he is reconfiguring those emblems to point to his body and his blood, which is going to be sacrificed. Well, if that's the case, then Jesus is preparing for his death, which Sheikh Uthman denies, based on 40 ambiguous words in the Quran in chapter 4, verse 157. So let's continue listening.
Like on the Passover, he's still having a conversation with his followers.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. That's the evening. That's right. The Passover is not just an evening celebration. It's also held throughout the day. Begins in the evening and continues the next day until the next evening. Of course, the other Muslims think, wow, he's really got him here. And again, folks, this is why, as Christians, we need to know our Bibles. We need to study. We need to look at these so-called alleged contradictions. That's what they are. They're alleged until you start looking at them individually, looking at them in terms of context, in terms of the reckoning of time. How is John reckoning time? How is Mark reckoning time? We know that John is actually using the Roman system. He's actually using the Roman calendar, the Roman reckoning of time, which has the day beginning at 12 midnight. Mark, however, is using the Jewish reckoning of time, where the day begins at evening. Well, let's continue.
We're eating in the evening.
Yes,
We're eating.
that's just the Talmud day.
That's the Passover meal.
Yeah.
So this is not the day before. This is the Passover.
Yeah, that's the evening before. That's correct. That's the evening before.
It still says preparing the Passover, which
This is not the day of preparation. Okay. This is them preparing the Passover.
Yeah.
Now keep going. Next verse. Then they're sitting down and having the Passover meal. So this is not the day before, like the earlier verse. Here, he's still having the meal. He still hasn't even been arrested.
And that's in the evening, in the night, right? 1 Corinthians 11, Paul says, in the night in which he was betrayed, he took bread. It was that very night he went to Gethsemane, and it was that very night that he was arrested. And then had a mock trial overnight illegally. And then he was crucified at 9 o'clock in the morning on Friday and died at 3 o'clock p.m. But again, the preparation here, folks, is the preparation of the Sabbath, not the preparation of Passover. Preparation day is the Friday. Once again, he's confusing it with the Passover. It's not referring to the Passover.
So the Passover meal is on the day of the Passover, right?
Evening of the Passover. And they continue to eat on the Friday as well. It's not just the Thursday night. It would have been the Friday. And then again, there's the eating of the unleavened bread, the matzah, which, as I already indicated, was merged with the Passover into an 8-day festival.
So earlier, the day of before, he's already crucified. Here he's having a meal with it.
What? The day before he's crucified. I think, Sheikh Uthman, you're confusing the Bible's reckoning of time, which is accurate, with the Quran's chronology, which is all over the board, which has Haman, the Persian, in Egypt with Pharaoh trying to oppose Moses, when Haman didn't exist until centuries later, where the Persian kingdom wasn't even around. You seem to be confusing the fact that Muhammad thought that Miriam, the sister of Moses, the sister of Aaron and Moses, was the mother of Jesus, and that both Mary and Moses have the same father, Imran. The 3rd chapter of the Quran, the 3rd surah, is named after Imran, Surah Imran. And so Muhammad seemed to think that the Miriam, the sister of Aaron and Moses, was the mother of Jesus. There's where you have some serious historical problems. And Haman being in Egypt, and Pharaoh crucifying people in Egypt when there was no crucifixion until the Persians invented it centuries later. Or there was a Samaritan among the Israelites who engineered the fashioning of the golden calf, when there were no Samaritans until the 8th century BC, until at least 700 years after the Exodus with Moses. And then Alexander the Great in chapter 18, Zulkarnain, Alexander the Great is a Muslim and he conquered the known world. Ben, you want to talk about history being all over the board with no concern or no appreciation of time? Take a look at your holy book, the Quran. John knows what he's talking about. John was an eyewitness. Mark was a disciple of the Apostle Peter, who also was a close eyewitness. And so he said, well, he was crucified the day before. What is he talking about? Mark and John know exactly the day Jesus was crucified. It was on the Friday. That's the day of preparation. But of course, this young man, he's doing his best, but I think this young man, again, like all other Christians, we need to study our sources. We need to study our texts. So let's listen in.
His disciples. So when was he crucified?
On the
But earlier,
yeah.
you said before the day, on the day of the preparation day.
What's the day of the preparation? It's not the day of preparation day. It's the day of preparation, or if you want to call it the preparation day. That's Friday, Sheikh Uthman. If you're watching this video, get that straight. That is Friday. That is not referring to the Passover. It's telling us the day of the week Jesus was crucified.
Meal, he was already being crucified.
No, that's not what it says. Even in the Gospel of John, chapter 13, where Jesus cleans the feet of his disciples, it says after the meal, he took water and he took a loincloth or a towel and he washed and dried the feet of his disciples. And then he went to the Garden of Gethsemane. So it's not the gospel writers, Sheikh Uthman, that are getting the time range, the time scale wrong here. You are, by misrepresenting words and phraseologies like the preparation day. And this poor fellow here, I believe he's a Christian, he needs to study this. Hopefully he watches this video as well.
I'm not so sure about that.
Does this seem like a contradiction to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And so this is a form of a straw man argument that Sheikh Uthman is very well known for. He's renowned for straw man arguments. Does it sound like a contradiction to you? No, not when you look at it. Not when you look at it in context, not when you look at it seriously. And I'm going to actually refer a book to you guys here that is very helpful. So we'll just conclude this and we just got a couple more seconds here.
Do you believe in the resurrection of Jesus? Okay. So this is in Matthew.
Yeah, and then it ends here. Very good discussion there. I would like to hear that one if I can on the resurrection. So that there, folks, is Sheikh Uthman, the allegedly renowned Muslim apologist. The book I wanted to mention to you is this book here, A Harmony of the Gospels. This is by A.T. Robertson, considered one among the foremost New Testament Greek scholars of the 20th century. And Dr. Robertson, in this book, A Harmony of the Gospels, published by HarperCollins, goes into detail about this very topic we just discussed, the very topic that was raised. And Dr. Robertson shows us how the Gospel of John and Mark and Matthew and Luke, for that matter, the Synoptic Gospels, how they do harmonize on the Passover and when Jesus had the Passover meal and the day of the crucifixion, etc. So Dr. Robertson, A.T. Robertson, does provides a great treatment of this subject. And so I will leave that with you. And once again, just want to thank all of you for being faithful subscribers to Toronto Apologetics. We'd like to encourage you, if you are just watching this for the first time, to subscribe to the channel. It's absolutely free. And we hope to see you again at a future episode. So take care, everybody, and Lord bless. Till next time, bye for now.